welcome to another edition of To The Point. On the show this week, Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare and also a prominent leader of Uttar Pradesh. I welcome Anupriya Patel on To The Point. Welcome, Anupriya. My first question to you is that you are the youngest minister in Prime Minister Modi's cabinet. What do you feel has been the biggest achievement for you so far in these 3 years?
If you ask me about the achievements of this government, I think I'll have to take you back 3 years when we had the UPA government. And this government was known for a scam-ridden regime, a government which was policy paralyzed, and a government which actually gave the economy a downturn. But now after 3 years since this government has taken over, what do you see? People are no more discussing scams, people are no more discussing corruption. Why? Because this is the hardest working government, which is most clean at the top. You know, this government, to its credit, has one very important thing. It has kind of brought the Indian politics into an era of, I would say, politics of performance, politics of possibilities, and politics of aspirations. India is a very young country, lots of young people like me, and lots of young people contributed to the formation of this government. And that is why when this government took over, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, he announced for the Skill India program. He said that government cannot create too many jobs. We have a huge population, and certainly no government can have the capacity of providing jobs to so many youth. And what does the youth want? It wants good education and jobs. So it said that, you know, my government is going to focus on self-employment. And for that, it's important that the youth has some skills, and that is why the Skill India program was launched. That is why we had Mudra Yojana, under which a lot of work has been done. You know, loans have been given to you so that they can start up and take up a self-employment. So these are the things that have been done for the youth, but I wouldn't say that there's not a lot left to be done. We still have miles to go before we sleep.
There is a large section of the political class, I would not say obviously the government side, but it's the opposition, which says that when you talk about programs like Skill India, when you talk about programs like Digital India, Swachh Bharat, you know, these have come out as catchphrases, of course in terms of making it into a mission, but on the ground when it comes to implementation, the implementation is still very tardy. Would you agree with this chunk of people who are talking like this?
You know, I want to say something to these people. There is a saying in English, he came, he saw, he conquered. And I think that's true for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's time they should accept the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has become the most trusted leadership brand in India. He won over hearts, minds, and votes. No matter how much you criticize him and his government, the fact is that the opposition is all bowled over. Because here we have a government who really wants to work for the country. And this is what we have been doing. You talk of any program, you mentioned about Swachh Bharat. Did any Prime Minister, any government ever thought of the problems and difficulties women living in the rural areas face who do not have toilets? As a woman, I would like to mention, when we read about many of the rape cases, what we read is that a woman was going somewhere in the dark because she wanted to ease herself, and then, you know, she was taken away by some of the men and she was raped. So they can't understand the pain of women living in the rural areas who do not have toilets. But this Prime Minister thought of it. He stood up at the Red Fort and said, let's construct toilets. And in these 3 years, we have built 4 crore toilets. Isn't that an achievement? So people should actually look within, see what they have done, and then criticize Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And no matter how much they criticize him, he's won over the hearts of people. And that is why when he talks of a new India, it strikes a chord, which unfortunately the opposition leaders fail to do.
There's a huge chunk of analysts who also say that obviously Prime Minister Modi looks invincible. He looks formidable at the moment, and people don't have an alternative, which is a fact. But there is also a chunk of analysts who say that it's because of the lack of unity amongst the secular groups or the secular parties that people are making a beeline for BJP.
You know, somebody has to say something. I mean, if the opposition is not united, if the opposition is not able to project themselves as a leader as tall as Narendra Modi, that is their problem, not Mr. Modi's. Why is it that you can't project yourself? Why is it that you can't win over the hearts of people? Why is it that people of India don't want to trust you? Why is it that you can't raise the aspiration of people? And why is it that you can't set an agenda for your people? Why is it that you can't fix an accountability for yourself and your government? This is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government is doing. So come on, appreciate the fact, face the reality.
Okay, coming to a few decisions which have been taken by the government, and without pointing fingers exactly at what the government is doing and why the government did so, because you are part of the Modi cabinet who's answerable on a number of issues. So I would like to understand from you that the recent decision which was taken by the centre to put a ban on the sale of cattle. What was the idea behind doing it? Because there are a lot of misconceptions which are being spread around by the so-called opposition, by a lot of people who are pro-beef, and so there's a lot of politics happening over cow and beef at the moment. What was the idea behind centre?
Yeah, I know. I think there are a lot of people who are politicizing these issues, and what I have to say on this entire issue is that India is a land where people have different food habits, different opinions, different kinds of belief systems, and I think although I haven't gone into the framing of this law, but what I can feel is that to respect the sentiments of a certain section of people, government has come up with this kind of a legislation. However, if as we're seeing on the television, there are objections to this kind of a law, and I can only assure that my government is a very sensitive and a responsible government, and it will definitely look into this matter and try to find out a way which is more acceptable to everyone in the country.
But before this decision was taken, obviously, I mean, for the last almost 2.5 years, the heat over cow politics and vegetarianism and beef eating has been on. It's like an ongoing process for the last 2.5 years, which we have seen. But when this decision, the recent notification which happened by the Environment Ministry, and when this decision was taken by the government, didn't the government know at that point of time that you all are going to give a handle to the opposition? Obviously, the way you see, all the opposition has come united on this issue. Mamata Banerjee, DMK leader Stalin, all are leading a protest, and they have almost opened the fort on this.
Look, let me tell you that this government is a very tough government. We are not scared of any opposition. When we thought of bringing in demonetization, we knew there's going to be an opposition. But that does not stop us, that does not prevent us from taking a decision which might go in the larger interest of people. As far as this decision is also concerned, it's not that it's a thoughtless act, the government hasn't thought of it. The point that I'm trying to make is that in case there are any issues, the government will definitely look into it.
But what about things like, basic things like, which are part of the constitution and the directive principles of state policy, like right to food, right to livelihood, encroachment upon the federal structure? These are the issues which are being discussed in the media at the moment.
I think my government is a government which has really promoted the spirit of cooperative federalism. The Prime Minister always talks of it, and if you remember the decision of more devolution of funds to the states, it was also done with the idea of making the states more empowered and giving a push and giving a strength to this whole idea of cooperative federalism. So this government does not think of bulldozing the states, even by demolishing this planning commission and bringing in the Niti Aayog, where states have a larger representation. The message that the central government is trying to give is that the states are very important, and the states should play a key role in deciding the policies and deciding how much fund should go to them and how the entire country should function, their respective regions should grow. So you can't really say that this government does not want to respect federalism. I think it's a government which has really given the strength and the push which was required to be given in a big democracy like India.
But if you look at the states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, left leaders, all of them have come together. Mamata Banerjee, DMK leader from Chennai, Stalin, all these people have come together, and they are saying that they lead a protest against the government on this the ban of the sale of cattle. And how will you ensure that the opposition unity doesn't happen on this? Because they are sensing an opportunity at this moment because of the notification which has recently happened.
Look, we don't have to make any conscious effort of making sure that there is no unity in the opposition. I mean, we don't believe in bulldozing the opposition. It is for them to decide they want to stand together or they want to fall apart, and they have every right to have their own opinions. They have every right to follow their own ideologies, express their disagreements over any of the decisions that the government makes. We'll hear them out, we'll listen to them, and then we'll decide what is best for the country. We'll do it.
You know, every section of the society at the moment is talking about this ban on the sale of cattle. As I told you about the political class, there's a little environmental group also which is talking about the fact that the government is worried about the slaughter of cattle. But what about protecting protecting the cow? But what about protecting other animals like chickens, pigs? So there is a huge chunk which is talking about this as well.
Look, let me just say one thing to this set of people, that here you have a prime minister who's really open to new ideas, and maybe this kind of idea hasn't come to his mind as yet. So you keep giving more ideas and we'll keep bringing new legislations.
Okay. Now taking you away from this issue and coming to what we recently saw in Uttar Pradesh. The Musahar dalits of Kushinagar, Yogi Adityanath has just donned the mantle of the chief minister, and he's been making headlines for all the good reasons, a proactive chief minister and a person who's very conscious of the law and order. But when, headlines start coming in the newspapers that the Musahar dalits were given soaps, they were given shampoos, they were being given scents with a specific instruction that you have to smell good when Yogi Adityanath comes for a public meeting. Why did he do that?
You can't really blame a chief minister for the inappropriate attitude of some of the officers. I think they have a polluted mentality, because these kind of social biases or social discriminations is not something that the government in UP promotes or gives strength to. And I'm sure the Honorable Chief Minister, if something like this has happened, he's taken cognizance of this particular episode and is definitely going to take an action against such an officers.
But since the time this news came out, we haven't seen Yogi Adityanath speak on this issue at all. Like, I think
it's not always necessary. I think it's not always necessary for the chief minister to come out and speak of everything. If something like this has happened in a state which he's heading, he'll definitely take cognizance of such episodes, and he'll definitely take the appropriate action. I'm very sure about it.
So you mean to say that Yogi Adityanath didn't know about this, and it was the officers who went with the soap sachets and the shampoo sachets?
Look, I haven't really seen things happening. You're telling me, you're quoting to me an episode, and that's why I'm saying that if something like this has happened, the chief minister will definitely take cognizance of it. I can't really say who went, who did what, or if the CM knows or he doesn't know. I can't comment on such things. These are the factual things. I can't comment, but I can only assure you of an action on part of the chief minister, that he's not going to leave anybody who's behaved in this manner.
But this Musahar Dalit incident definitely doesn't indicate the return of untouchability.
As I said, it is a clear sign of polluted mentality of certain officers. See, you must understand, whether it is politicians or it is people from the media like you, or it is our officers, everybody is eventually coming from the social fabric. And our social fabric is fragmented. We have discriminations within the different castes and communities still, which is prevailing in our society. So since officers are also coming from the society, some of them tend to be like this, and we can only deal with them with the law of the land, and that's what I can expect my government to do.
Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi has said he's demanded an apology from Yogi Adityanath. Will he do that?
Will he apologize for what his party Karyakartas have done by slaughtering an innocent animal on the streets of Kerala? First, he should look within and take some action against his own party workers, and then think of seeking an apology from the Honorable Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh.
Okay, I won't probe you further on this. Coming to what we saw recently in Saharnpur, we saw clashes happening between the Dalits and the Thakurs, and it not once but twice it happened. It was like a cycle of events which took place. I'm not going to get into the merits of how and when and why it happened. But what I want to ask from you is that since 2013, basically Western UP, you are from Uttar Pradesh, you very well know that much more than what I know about it, that since 2013, Western Uttar Pradesh has been visibly very uneasy because of the turn of events which we saw. Why is it that the political parties don't make an attempt to go and cool down the tempers of these communities? We don't see that happening at all.
See, if you look at the situation in Uttar Pradesh, when we see episodes like this, clashes between different castes and communities, it's really very painful, and it makes a person like me very sad when I see the state of affairs. But if you try to analyze the situation in Uttar Pradesh, social fragmentation is not a problem which has just emerged over a few years. I mean, it's been a long time since these things have been happening, and then in the past, say 2 decades or so, political parties have actually made an effort to use the social caste groups as vote banks. So that's what has kind of aggravated the bitterness between different castes and communities. So this is not a problem which is going to be, you can't have a quick fix solution. It's not going to go away in a day or so, or with the change of one government. It's a slow process, it will take time, but I think we all have to work towards it, and all the political parties have to show commitment towards it. This is not just one man's job or one party's job. All of us have to come together, because eventually it's a society and all of us are a part of it. So that is a time-taking process, and I think things will improve with democracy getting more and more strengthened, with more talks about social justice, more equality to people who have been deprived so far. I think we can take things forward in a positive manner, and we'll be able to overcome these kind of situations and problems.
That's quite a convincing explanation which you have just given about the social fragmentation, and obviously democracy evolves with time. But when Mayawati was the chief minister, we saw that the Dalits were an emboldened lot. Any Dalit could just go down on the street and say that, look, Behenji is our chief minister. Now when Yogi Adityanath has become the chief minister, obviously he's a Thakur. And this particular incident in Saharnpur, many people have started saying after the clashes broke out that this had to do quite a lot with the reassertion of the Dalit identities and the reassertion of the Thakurs as well. Would you somewhere down the line agree with this perception?
Look, the tendency of people in, not just in Uttar Pradesh, I would say it's across India.
Across the country.
It's across the country. I say that caste is a rugged reality of the society. Caste and Varna system are not a day's affair. They are like thousands of years old. So people have that superiority and inferiority, who's above, who's below, who's big, who's small. It's still there in your subconscious mind. So whoever gets associated with power wants to assert himself or herself that, look, now I'm big or you're small. People who feel a little inferior, they'll say, no, now I'm big. People who feel superior, they'll say, no, I am also big. So this kind of clash continues. I told you, unless you bring harmony, unless you distribute resources equally and justifiably to all sections of the society, these kind of problems are going to persist. You can't just close your eyes to these kind of problems. You have to accept this is the reality, you have to live with it, and at the same time also make efforts to change it.
But when incidents like these happen, obviously there's a lot of hatred, there's a lot of division in the society which further enhances. For example, I was talking to one of the senior journalists in Saharnpur who told me yesterday that these days, after the clash especially, a situation has evolved where the Thakurs were hiring the Dalit laborers, but they are not doing it anymore because of the fear that another clash might happen or another incident might just take place. So the villages are completely segregated. At least that mental block is there that we won't mingle with each other.
These kind of things are expected. They're quite expected. When this kind of a clash happens, then for some period of time, there is a distance that people maintain from each other, so that, there's no adversity anymore. Yeah. But this is for the timing. This is not something which is going to continue in the long run. After some time, if you go there, you will see that again they're back to square one and the same systems are in place. That's how it is.
Many people were saying that a lot of it had to do with the Saharnpur civic polls, which would be around the corner in some time. So was it because of that to polarize the elections, or that's how the analysts always probe and question the ministers?
I think it's not the right practice to associate every single event or episode or incident that takes place with electoral activities. We are a society and things keep happening, so it's not always necessary to associate everything with elections.
But Anupriya, very candidly, would you not agree that BJP, I mean, you call it might, you call it BJP strength, or you call it you call it as a very strengthening quality of BJP, that BJP is the party which has forced other parties to take even civic elections very seriously, like the way we saw in Delhi, we saw in Mumbai. No party can afford to, have a very lackadaisical attitude towards even civic elections. I mean, earlier media never bothered, political parties never bothered about it. So you've got to at least take the credit for that.
Well, I'm not the BJP spokesperson, but I would definitely say
that... But you're part
that
of the BJP cabinet.
Yes, the NDA cabinet. And I'm a small partner both here in the center and in UP. But I would definitely say that the bigger partner has a role to play in the difference in the situation that it has created. People have really started taking every single election very seriously, and I think that's a good sign for democracy, because even for the smaller elections, if the electorate has a seriousness, if the political parties have a seriousness, that means they will feel the right kind of candidates. They will really take care of the issues which are of concern for people who are living at that level. So I think it's a sign of growth for democracy. This should be taken in a positive light.
How do you see the future of your party? You are an ally right now, and there were rumors, I mean, since 2014, that eventually your party, APNA DAL, will merge with BJP.
See, what happens is, when a big party and a small party, a national party and a regional party, when they come together, people often think that the bigger party is going to, take hold of the smaller one. But it's not always true. I didn't merge my party in 2014. I didn't merge my party in 2017. I'm not even going to merge it in future. I'm very happy the way I am here with my small party, with my own identity. And I think it's just beautiful to walk together with the BJP as an NDA ally. And I think these talks are only with media and other political parties. I mean, the bigger partner has never asked me for a merger. This is only what I get to hear from a third party. Not BJP has never asked me for such a thing. We've never had this kind of a discussion. We always talk about an alliance. We talk about seat sharing. We talk about how could our partnership be increased. But nobody has ever spoken to me about, Anupriya, come, will you merge your party? Nobody ever talks to me like this. This is only something that media talks about.
Why questions like these come up, Anupriya, is that, when you were contesting for 2014 elections, there were a lot of stories and reports coming out about the internal conflict within your party. So, some of the cases, I believe, are in court also. So, people, try to preempt and think that maybe, perhaps, someday you will merge the party with it.
No, first of all, that the problems in my parties were not at the time of 2014 Lok Sabha elections. They came up later, and then all those problems are settled now. Okay. Now we are in the government, 9 MLAs, one minister here, MP here, so everything is smooth.
You have always been the Kurmi mascot for BJP. It's an 11% crucial vote bank for BJP. If you talk about states like Uttar Pradesh, how about expanding the scope of your party to states like Bihar, where you have a Kurmi leader like Nitish Kumar? What about handholding with him?
Good that you know which caste I belong to. I don't even know which caste you belong to. See, caste is so important.
No, caste is because caste has been made into a big issue by media itself.
I say that caste is very important. It's not just in UP, it's everywhere. It's even here in Delhi. You're sitting and talking to me and telling me, Anupriya, you're a Kurmi leader. See how important caste is. Pick up a matrimonial advertisement in a newspaper on Sunday. You find only caste categorized demands. We want a girl from this particular caste. We want a boy from this particular caste. It's a reality of our society. As far as expanding my party is concerned, of course we'll be expanding it to the other states, but right now we're focusing on UP because 2019 is very close and 2 years is not a very long time.
Recently we saw Nitish Kumar coming and meeting Prime Minister. Obviously, official reasons, everyone knew that, the delegates from Mauritius were here and he wanted to come and have a luncheon with him. But the undercurrents of the meeting, the political undercurrents of the meeting said that perhaps there could be some kind of a hand-holding by the Prime Minister with Nitish Kumar because he's wanting to tame RJD leader Lalu Prasad.
Well, if Nitish Kumarji thinks that he wants to, come along with a leader like Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who really wants to take the country forward, I think it's a wise decision that he is wanting to make. So I welcome it.
Okay. One last question before I wind up the show. The little controversy on Zika virus which just came up. People thought that the government tried to cover up the 3 cases which came up in Gujarat. What was the reality?
You know, I just want to say that this issue has been blown out of proportion. There was too much of hue and cry and for nothing. There's absolutely nothing to worry. Let me tell you that these 3 cases which got detected in Bapunagar, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, only because of the sole reason that last year itself we increased our surveillance system. We have 35 labs now which are functional for detecting this virus, and it was a very localized problem. There was no need to cover up the problem or hide the problem.
The whole confusion came out because the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, they said that they didn't have any clue about the Zika virus cases, and they saw the story only on the WHO website. That's where the confusion began. Maybe Gujarat government tried to cover up the cases.
No, it was not like covering up. When we established contact with them, we told them that you must go there and take care of the problem, and they took care of the problem, and no further cases have been identified also. So there is absolutely nothing to worry.
Okay, so it's coming straight from the health minister. There's nothing to worry. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Anupriya, for coming on the program. So that's it on this episode of To The Point. See you next time with another personality. Goodbye and thanks for watching.